repeat of the Flash Bash. We will find out tonight which of our writers is going to join the three already through to the final, and perhaps with a chance of winning the Edinburgh Award for Flash Fiction for this year. That competition is open to writers worldwide, or the Golden Hare Award, which is a special prize for the top story entered by a writer living in Scotland.
We are going to hear 5 stories tonight. These are One Small Step by Brendan Thomas, Snapchat by Michael Callahan, Judgment by Lorraine Queen, Invisible Woman by Claire Joyce, and Short Straw by Christina Eagles. Unfortunately, Brendan was unable to join us. So are you all okay? How are you feeling?
Fine. Ready to go.
We begin with One Small Step by Brendan Thomas. Brendan grew up in Dublin and 25 years ago moved to the US, where he lives with his wife and 2 children. He started writing 3 years ago and quickly moved on from short stories to flash fiction. He's developing a collection of flash stories based on historical events, of which One Small Step is a fine example.
Apollo 11 moved into position on the launch pad. The team gathered for the last time in a windowless meeting room filled with cigarette smoke, stale sweat, and the remnants of a catered lunch. "Any last-minute decisions before we conclude?" the team leader asked, eyeing his watch. An engineer said, "Have we decided on the first man to step out?" "The lunar module pilot is always first to exit," the leader answered. "That's Buzz." "But the exit hatch is on the opposite side of the module, next to Neil." "Buzz can climb across Neil." "The backpacks on the suits are too bulky. Buzz's suit damaged the lunar module mock-up yesterday when we tried that maneuver. We can't risk damaging the real module on the moon's surface," the engineer answered. The leader ran his fingers through his tired hair before speaking. "So Neil goes first, then Buzz." "Exactly." "Is that a problem for anyone?" he asked, eyeing each of the 3 astronauts. Buzz Aldrin was first to speak. "History will remember the team that conquered the moon, not just the first person to walk on its surface," he said. Command Module pilot Michael Collins agreed. "Neil goes first, then Buzz. Anything else?" "Should I prepare a little speech for my exit? Man's first words from the moon's surface?" Neil asked. The leader dismissed him with a wave. "Everyone will be enthralled with the pictures beamed into their homes. No one will remember what you say."
Well done, that was great.
And
Lovely.
you immediately hear the birds.
I wonder what the other 299 stories are like.
All based on history. It'd be very interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to move on now to Michael Callahan. Michael lives in Glasgow with his wife, 2 children, and more pets than he deserves.
There was one there.
Right on cue.
You go through, it's okay. Sorry.
He's taken his writing more seriously in the last few years, and in that time he's had stories published by Writing Magazine after winning some of their monthly competitions, and he's also placed or won several national competitions. Last year, Michael took second prize in the Edinburgh International Award for Flash Fiction.
Can't deny it. I like dark stories where something terrible and horrible happens to somebody. And at the very end, started off as a young girl meeting somebody on one of these TikTok or web chat things. I rush home as soon as the school bell goes, and I'm there in 20 minutes. When I get in, Mum's on the sofa, watching Pointless. I ignore her and go to my bedroom. I'm really keen to talk to Kira again. We've been chatting for 3 days, and we've been getting along great. She's really cool and pretty, unless that photo of hers is well photoshopped. I log on to Cool Crew. Kira's already logged on. Hey Kay, what you up to? I type. Not much, Ollie. Bored. Not bored now though, I'm here. Typing's boring. LMRL. I pause. Let's meet in real life. This is a development. For real? Yeah? You told me you're near Edinburgh. Get the train to Waverley. I'll meet you outside Burger King at 6:30. I smile. How well do I really know you, Kira? Ha! You don't. But how do I know you're really a 15-year-old schoolboy staying with his mum? True, I type. Okay, I'll meet you. Cool, don't be late. I go downstairs. Mum looks up. You hungry, son? Nah, going out. Mum keeps staring at me. I worry about you, son. You spend all your time in that bedroom, or else you're gone for hours and don't say where you've been. You've had that dead-end school caretaker job for 10 years now. You could do so much better with your life. I smile. Don't worry, Mum. I go to leave. Brian, she calls out. Where are you going? Brian, please. I ignore her and set off to meet Kira.
Well done.
Yes.
And we don't know really how old Kira is, do we?
It could be two middle-aged men, that would be a big
Yeah.
Might be a perfect relationship. I thought that the mother was creepy as well. You know,
Yes.
a bit like Psycho. You know, a bit like the mother is.
Yeah, I imagined her as just being completely disengaged.
There's some questions you shouldn't ask because you really don't want to know the answer.
Indeed, indeed.
I think that might be her take on it.
But no, I think it's so clever the way you lead us up one route and then you've totally wrong-footed us right at the end.
Yeah.
You see where we're going, and that's
Thanks, that's what I was hoping
Yeah.
for. You would worry for Ollie, but then turns out he's the bad guy.
Now we come to Lorraine Queen and her story, Judgment. Lorraine tells us that as a child, she told stories to her wee sister as they lay in the shadowy darkness of their bedroom. Scary stories they were.
Very.
She found it thrilling to discover that she had the power to provoke an emotional response to these stories, and she's still hooked. She says that thankfully her sister does still speak to her, although she has needed some serious counselling.
I love flash fictions. I didn't realise that I was going to enjoy them so much. The writing group that I'm in, whenever we meet, we'd have a one-word prompt, and for 12 minutes we'd all do some spontaneous writing and then see where we got to at the end of it. But since lockdown, we've all still continued to meet, but online, and there's a prompt suggested in the way that we did when we met in person, and it's become my absolute favourite thing to do, because now we don't have to limit ourselves to 12 minutes and we can edit and polish it up before we send. My husband and I visit a cemetery quite regularly, and there's a grave of a young person there, and it's often got different tokens laid there, and it's clearly friends that want to sort of keep his memory going. The grave hadn't been there for very long, and I just thought that these young boys that are coming to lay these tokens and sort of try to keep feeling as if he's still there, and it helps them come to terms with things. If you see them in a different setting, your attitude to them would be completely different.
I got Mum some lovely flowers from Mark's and decided to leave the car and walk, since it was so rare to have sunshine on Mother's Day. She hasn't been up here long, and I hadn't realised how steep the hill was. So I was taking it slow and watching my feet. I heard them, just before I got to the turn, I edged forward. 4 of them were about 50 yards away, shouting and pushing each other. I saw their Celtic scarves and what looked like a small bottle being handed round. I needed to pass them to get to Mum's, so I thought it better to wait and see if they moved on. Soon, 3 of them headed towards a car parked just further down. The last one stayed and leaned against the stone for support. After a minute or two, one of the boys in the car opened the door and shouted, "Hey Stevie, come on, we need to go." When they'd driven off, I walked down to Mum's. As I passed where they had been, I saw a bottle of vodka, a packet of cigarettes, and the Celtic scarf still lying there. I stopped to read the inscription. Michael Aaron Doherty. Taken suddenly, September 13th, 2019. Dearly loved son of Alan and Mary, twin brother to Stephen. Forever in our hearts.
Well done.
Really lovely.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very emotional, isn't it? Very emotional story, really.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Really tugs at the heartstrings, that
Yeah.
one. And again, another one that takes you in one direction and then switches you right back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's a great skill to be able to do that in 250 words, though. It really is a fantastic skill.
Thank you.
Claire Joyce is next. Claire is a drama teacher living in County Kildare, Ireland. Unemployed due to COVID, she started writing in her vast amount of spare time. She's a writer and director of Fractured, a 48-episode theatrical podcast about the Irish War of Independence, which is due for release this month. A keen amateur actor, she's also written and produced a large number of plays for her students. She's a member of 2 theatre production companies, both of which focus on the development of new writing.
Well, you'd often look in the newspaper and you'd see maybe a picture of somebody who's gone missing or a description of them. And I often wonder if that person was looking at their description, would they recognize themselves in the description? And I often say to my husband, God, if I ever go missing, would you get a decent photo and put it in the paper? You don't want to be a terrible photo of me in the paper, you know? So I just worked from that idea and put a basic generic description of somebody who had gone missing, and then talk about what they were really like behind it, and what were their real feelings and emotions to try to show the difference between the two.
Sexless, ageless, female, mid-30s, colourless, dark brown hair, fair skin, voiceless, speaks with a strong Dublin accent, chameleon, will-o'-the-wisp, shape shifting every woman, medium build, reader, writer, carer, secret keeper, poetry speaker, unemployed, cat whisperer, bird feeder, bee protector, flower tender, butterfly spotter, stray adopter, socially isolated, rain dancer, puddle splasher, nighttime stroller, starlight gazer, earworm hummer, sandwich sharer, finger tapper, leaf collector, mental health issues, street wanderer, people watcher, canal bank sunbather, library lover, shop front shelterer, pavement dweller, no fixed abode, London, Paris, Milan, New York, Moscow, Sydney. Last seen in Dublin's inner city. Fashion follower, hair curler, fingernail painter, funky hat wearer, handbag carrier, jewellery hoarder, scarf wrapper, shoe craver, colour clasher. Possibly wearing black jeans and a dark top. Thumb sucker. Skin cutter. Pain number. Overeater, undereater, high achiever, attention seeker, people pleaser, late night screamer. Comes from a respectable family background. Punch receptor. Head wrecker. Bone crusher, nose bleeder, baby loser, no good user, man hater, heartbreaker, money scrounging, stupid fucking whore. No identifying scars. Solace seeker. Canal, bed, sleeper. Missing. Free. Presumed dead.
Wow, that's
Terrific.
powerful, powerful
Oh,
stuff.
powerful stuff, Claire.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, some really amazingly evocative language, just really
Yeah.
great, that sort of piling up of the images, and so
It did.
clever.
It gathered strength as it went on. It was very powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You really brought that. I mean, I liked it enough when I read it, Claire, but you really brought it to life. You're obviously a very good actress. You know, that was amazing how you presented it. That was fantastic.
20 years in theatre, you know.
It shows. It shows.
All that work.
And that was amazing. That was great.
Finally, we come to Christina Eagles, who in 2018 was the first ever winner of the Edinburgh Award for Flash Fiction. Christina's been writing on and off for about 30 years. She works in all prose forms and has fairly recently begun to enjoy the challenges of flash fiction. Her work has been placed in several competitions, including Fish Publishing and the Bridport Prize.
I know a lot of writers like to walk and let the muse work. But for me, it's riding. I like to get on my horse, off on my own, and just let the ideas come. And I find there's something there that just sort of frees up the constraints and it's easier to be creative. I was trying to make it more generic, various scenarios where it could have been set. You know, the girl could have been in a concentration camp. But when I was working on it, it wasn't long after there'd been a real scandal about UN peacekeeping forces. But I deliberately didn't want to tie it down too tightly to any one country.
Miriam and her friends are squealing outside. The sound calls me to the hot air of the open window, where I can watch them crouch together in the dust. My stomach clenches when I see that they are drawing straws again. I've told her not to do that, but she looks at me blankly. What can I say? I know that for them it's only a fun way of choosing who will turn the handle of the skipping rope. There is no way to explain to my daughter what it once meant to me. The night I drew the short straw from an outstretched hand that trembled. My mother begged to go in my place, but the others said no. She was too scrawny, too old. I listened to her weeping as I walked across the yard to the fair-haired men leaning on their rifles. I tried to hold my head high, but I could feel the pee trickling hot down the insides of my thighs. This morning, I breathe again, and I see that it is not Miriam this time. One of the others steps back and shows what she holds. I watch the girls as they tie a scarf around her eyes and send her spinning at the centre of their circle. It is always easy to pick Miriam out in the group. Against the black hair of her friends, hers shines the colour of straw.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another harrowing tale.
Yeah. I mean, such a huge topic in such a,
Well, that's what I like about flash fiction, is you can just sort of paint in a few details and your reader is responsible for building the story in her head. So it's not really your story anymore. You've just put a few clues there.
I'm sorry, I can't say very much. I've got a lump in my throat having heard the story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
And I've read the story before, but I'm hearing it. It's actually even more powerful.
It's very powerful. And the image of the straw running through it, the short straw and the straw-coloured hair, it's beautiful. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
There we have the 5 stories of the final heat of Flash Bash 2021. Earlier, I spoke to Zoe and Louise to find out which story they had chosen to go through to the final. Zoe and Louise, those are the stories from the final heat of the Flash Bash. They took us from the moon with one small step to the darkly sinister Snapchat, from the war crimes of short straw to the misjudgments of judgment, and to that clash between imagination and the bureaucracy that lies at the heart of Invisible Woman. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, we travel to the moon and back, don't we, with this selection. And one of the amazing things about all of the short fictions that we've seen, the flash fictions, is the way they incorporate so many different voices and genres. You know, we have social realism, we have politics, we've got the domestic world, we've got some really creepy stuff. I mean, Snapchat, that's a creepy story, isn't it? You know, that's a story that makes you go, ugh.
It is, isn't it?
And I delight in going, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, I really admire that people are ambitious enough to tackle these, you know, really big, difficult themes again, you know, short straw, and that, you know, just working with memory and trauma and, you know, doing something with that in such a tiny word count.
I thought Invisible Woman was an amazing short story that makes me think of Hemingway and its economy and use of imagery.
I really like the 2 levels to it, having the surface level of the set of adjectives and words, and then what's happening underneath. I thought was very powerful. I mean, it's another dark one, isn't it?
It's really dark and really respects the reader's intelligence and ability to work out what is going on for themselves.
Yeah, it kind of pushes at the form. It does something different with the flash fiction form. And one small story, I mean, it's great because it's, I mean, it's, you know, a story actually about the power of words.
Yeah.
It's a clever one as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we've got the complexities of, you know, the emotional world, love, rejection, desire, and to have one small step is a delight in all of these, because suddenly we have something that also makes us laugh as well as making us think.
And the subject which I liked, judgment, very much. I thought that was another lovely vignette, slice of life, really effective twist. You know, such a powerful reminder to us that, you know, not to make these snap judgments, not to judge an appearance, to, you know, think about other people. I like the message of that story.
Yeah, and we've been talked in other episodes about how some stories are very, very topical. And I think the story Judgment is hugely topical, because this is a point when we're quite separate from each other in way, you know, not through choice. And we know that people are looking at other people and thinking, oh, you're running too fast, you're running too close, you're not wearing a mask at the right point, you've been out twice today. You know, we know that people are making judgments often based on very little knowledge, you know, and so I thought this story was a very topical story and one that we can learn from.
Yeah. And maybe, you know, who wouldn't like to be honoured with a bottle of vodka, you know, commemorated with things that they actually loved in life?
Well, I'd rather be honoured while I'm alive.
Yes, okay, yes. Oh, yes, Snapchat's clever too, though, isn't it? I mean, I just totally believe the messaging, but then when you read it, you know, you read it once, and then when you read it again, every line just makes your skin crawl, doesn't it?
It's powerful, deceptively powerful, you know. And I think when we look at the way that the stories are laid out, and this use of social media and the use of dialogue, it makes it deceptively simple. It's like reading a film. I felt like I was watching a scene from a movie when I read Snapchat. I thought it was really effective, and as you say, it got a visceral response from me.
Yeah, definitely. The ending, yes, the ending is so memorable, isn't it?
It took quite a lot of discussion to make the choice. We swithered quite a lot, and then we swithered again, and then we got down to, I think, swithering between two, didn't we?
And then made a.
Yeah.
Do you want to give the decision?
I think it's me. I'm the creepy one in the judging panel, and in the end, we went for the very creepy short flash fiction Snapchat.
Well done, Michael. Well done.
I'm genuinely amazed. Sorry, I was just honoured to be in that company, so I'm absolutely astounded that happened. Gosh, wow. I'm genuinely
Congratulations.
I'm talking, so that makes no sense, but that's amazing. Sorry, that's incredible. Thank you. I thought those stories were amazing, genuinely, all of them. I felt humbled to be in such company, but having to go through is just an incredible cherry on the top of that evening. So thank you very much.
Equally, well not disgrace at all in losing out to that story. It was cracking.
No, absolutely. Well done.
Yeah.
I was just thrilled to get through to the last 21. I was delighted, and to hear that you'd all read the stories 40 times. I'm humbled in fact that you did so much work, and it's been a really positive experience. And I think these heats, you know, in these times, you pulled it out of the bag and really made a very special effort to make us feel special, I think, you know, rather than just, okay, here's the winner, you know.
When I told family and they were saying, oh, that's marvellous, and how many entries, I said, well, I mean, I don't know. If there's a couple of hundred, that would be fantastic to get through to the final 20. But if there's only been 25, I'll be quite upset because I sent in 4 entries. But to find out there was 750 entries, I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And the quality of the final 21, and in particular, I have to say, the quality of the ones we've heard tonight, it's just, as Michael said, it's wonderful to be in such company. I feel very honoured.
Stories by all of the writers that you've heard tonight will be included in our next anthology. And for the next few weeks, those stories are also available on our website. And don't forget, our latest anthology that was published just a few weeks ago, Life on the Margins, is packed full of the most wonderful short stories and flash fiction from our 2019 and 2020 competitions. All the proceeds from the sale of the book are used to support the arts in Scotland. So what's not to love about it? Well, go buy it. And we do hope that as many of you as possible will be with us tomorrow when we find out in the final who has won the Edinburgh Award for Flash Fiction 2021. Bye for now.
Bye.
Best of luck, Michael.
And good luck in the final, Michael.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Beautiful.
Yeah.